Hi, this is Lynn Baker. I'm the chair of the Jazz Studies and Commercial Music Department at the University of Denver Lamont School of Music. Welcome to the Shape Method. This is a lesson on a chapter from the Shape Method for Jazz Improvisation. Hello and welcome to the Shape Method, Chapter 23. This rhythmic concept for this video will be using rhythmic, augmentation, and diminution, and the pitch concept will be 3 and 6 tonic systems. So we've dealt with keeping things in 4/4 time and using different rhythms associated with 4/4 time. We've dealt with rebarring. We've dealt with implying other meters on top. We've dealt with odd meter issues. And now we're going to deal with being more flexible about how we motivically develop ideas. So augmentation simply means making the rhythmic idea, the rhythmic motive, longer. And it doesn't have to be double. It can be by any sort of multiple that you would like. So you can get into some fairly complex, long-form rhythms through augmentation. Diminution is the same idea, except it's making the idea rhythmically shorter. Again, it doesn't have to be double. It could be by thirds, it could be by fifths. It can be a very powerful improvisational tool that kind of steps outside of the sounding outside of the regular 4/4 framework but still maintaining your connection to it in a very sophisticated way. Of course it's a great compositional tool. You hear this lots of in very contemporary, and I'm talking about music in the last 20 years, jazz within the last 20 years. Listen to people like Steve Coleman, VJ Iyer, and a bunch of other cats, and you'll hear augmentation and diminution being used very aggressively in their lines and their compositions. 3 and 6 tonic systems extend the idea that we had in the, chapter 22 of a 4 tonic system, with each of the tonics being an equal distance from each other. So we're dividing the octave. Last chapter we divided it into 4s. We're dividing it into 3s here. So that means like a major triad on C, a major triad on E, and a major triad on A flat. They're all major thirds apart, and they generate an interesting scale called an augmented scale, and they can be used in a bunch of different ways. Here's one example of a line used on an augmented scale that's fairly common. And there are many different ways to combine major triads, major thirds apart. It fits because all the distances and the really interesting half steps and minor thirds that are in these lines, they fit on all sorts of chords in really interesting ways, creating resolution tones where you might not expect them, and consonances where you might not expect them. So a very interesting contemporary way to spice up your melodies. 6 tonic systems are the same sort of idea, except you're dividing the octave into 6 equal parts. That means that each one of the triads are a whole step apart. Again, pioneer of this, Kenny Garrett, and people that have played after Kenny Garrett use lots of 6 tonic systems. Probably the big pioneer of this was Woody Shaw. So you've kind of almost caught up with jazz theory and practice now with chapter 23, and it's up to you to take it to the next level. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the chapter. To go deeper into the ideas, purchase the Shape Method. You'll receive detailed information, more examples, listening suggestions, composition and performance exercises, and appendices of public domain jazz language, and an explanation of why the blues scale works, and more. Get chops on the concepts by purchasing the Etude Supplements Volume 1 and 2. Please subscribe to the channel and tell your friends.